Well, we're working on the 1971 Shaker Challenger today, and we're working on the engine. This engine was told to be a 73.3 that was stuck, and he didn't know anything about it. And that's pretty much the case. I put that wrench on the crank and stood on it and basically jumped on it, which I don't recommend. It's not a good idea, but I was just seeing if it would budge at all. It won't. So there's a head, there's the intake, and here is what we have found so far. It's a little rusty in there, the crosshatch isn't great, and it had some water in it at some point. But all in all, it's salvageable. It's not great, but I guess I would consider it salvageable. So I'm going to pop this valve cover off and pop this head off in real time. Shouldn't take long. I've got some power tools here to speed it up. And we're going to see what this side looks like. So let's get started here. Oh, there goes that bolt. And the camera's right in the way of me getting to that last one. Just a little. All right, valve cover is loose. So let's see what we have underneath here. See if it had the same issue as the other side. No, they did it right on this side. On the other side, the oil holes were facing up, which is obviously very, very wrong. These valve covers were sandblasted. I can tell that much. You can see the inside how they're kind of rough texture, like they've been blasted. So that's interesting. Nothing, life-changing by any means. It's pretty clean underneath the valve covers. So we will pop the rocker shaft off. And the way I do this, everybody does it different, and everybody's going to say their way is right, but I always just crack these loose in a row, and then I loosen them. Now I'm at the end. Now I'll loosen them down the line. Make sure they're all loose. You might have been able to see some of them lose that pressure off the spring. So that's important to make sure that those valves are going back where they're supposed to. Let's make sure that these are loose here, and they are not quite loose, but only takes a minute. It's kind of nice to feel them by hand too and make sure that there's not any threads that are messed up too bad. Because fixing threads in a cylinder head is not fun. I'm going to loosen these a little more with my power ratchet because they're a little tighter than I thought they were. All right. So should just lift off. Of course it won't. That's loose, that's loose, that's loose, that's loose, and that's loose. So it should lift right off like that. So everything in the head is looking pretty good. I'll get these push rods out of the way. Look for any of them that were bent. There was one that was bent on the other side. These look pretty good so far. And those all look good. Now I got the impact out and we'll pop this head off. Like to start in the middle and work out. This impact is good. It makes short work of this. Tools aren't too loud on the audio. Of course, I won't have any idea until this is done. And I'm not quite sure what the story is on this engine, but somebody's doing some work to it. Bump the camera. All right, get that top row. So those are all loose. I'll get them pulled out. Not the most perfect sequence, but tried to keep some sort of pattern so you're not just pulling them all in one row at a time. Reach this one back here. And that should be all of them. So get a pry bar. If I find where I put that. Right here. So we'll start off of here. No, not wanting to go that way. There goes the camera. I'll get you guys set up a little bit better here, so I'm not running into you every 10 seconds. Yeah, not wanting to come off. The other one was the same way. Yeah, it's on there pretty good. Yeah, you don't want to keep slipping off and wreck something, but I'm not too worried about this considering the condition of the whole thing. Nope. It's going to take a little bit of force, so I'll just come back once I get it cracked loose. Well, I got it off, but made a little bit of a mess in the process. So let me get this out of here and we'll see what we got underneath. I've not looked underneath yet, but I figure it's probably about the same as the other side. So get this pry bar out of there and grab this thing out. Well, that looks pretty similar to the other side. Get you guys set up a little better here. Yeah, it does look a little better than the other side. A little bit less rust, but there is definitely still rust and issues to be had. Now I'm going to try and turn it over. It won't turn over, I almost guarantee you, but yeah, she's stuck. But that means it's bearings, or either bearings are seized, or the crank is froze with something, rust or whatever, or who knows what the actual problem is without taking it all the way apart. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what we found. The cylinders are, I don't know, they're not terrible, but they're not great. So I guess that's about as descriptive as I can get. Try to get you guys a little bit closer in here. See if I can get the flash on here. Yeah, there we go. There's some junk in there, and the cylinders are not ideal. There's a lot of rust in this one. A little bit of this, a little bit of junk. That one's pretty bad too. When I first popped the intake off, the lifter valley looked pretty good. I was like, hey, maybe this thing isn't that bad. But after popping the heads off, this is what we got. Get you a closer look at the other side here. Junk in there, junk in there. Cylinder wells are not great. Junk in there, junk in there. So this block, it's definitely salvageable, but without knowing how much deeper it goes, it's hard to say what all it needs. It definitely needs, probably to be completely, bored out, probably 20 thousandths minimum, probably 20, 30 thousandths is what it probably would need. It might clean up for less, I don't know. But it's basically a core at this point. And that's what the guy that sold the car to us, he basically said, he's like, I know the engine's stuck. That's pretty much all I know about it. And it's, sold as a core. And that's what I got, and I can't complain. So that's where we're at. Hopefully somebody enjoyed me tearing this thing apart and solve a little bit of a mystery with it. And then the cylinder head here. Cylinder head is, a little crusty, but they would probably clean up and be okay. Those valve springs look decent, so we'll have to see how some stuff goes. I don't know if we're going to use this engine for anything. It'll probably just go on the shelf because this is not the intended engine for this car anyways. So I don't know, but hopefully somebody enjoyed that and somebody got something out of that. But I'll leave it there. Definitely consider like, share, subscribe, all that cool fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video.